Monday, September 8th, market analysis, Stan Ehrlich. We start out with stock indexes, go to futures and a few stocks, and I will talk about the October lows to start with, and then the indexes. There is a very historical precedence for the month of September to be a down month. Now, the first week of September is come and gone. Today, Monday, not much happened. In fact, it's a very dull, boring day. One of the smallest ranges we've seen in quite a while, a bunch of dojis. And there's not a lot to say because of that. I do expect that we're going to see a big break in September or during the month of October and I am still looking for the October lows. So what we need is some downside breakout to start the ball rolling. That is going to be a close below 63.63. Give or take, a tick or two or a point or two. Then the real momentum should be with a close below 62.43 for the E-mini. Period. I don't see it starting today. Sometimes it's very difficult to tell on a strong close in particular that that's it. It's downhill from that point. And I can't say that at the moment. We're not overbought, we're not oversold, we didn't have any major reversals. Now, we did have a bearish reversal on Friday, an outside down day, and it wasn't overbought, so I don't have any red bearish signals. This rally today did not get higher than Friday, so didn't kill the expected dip that we would have from a bearish engulfing. Sometimes those bearish engulfings can be the beginning of something much, much bigger than you think, which is still possible from Friday. But let's see it close below Friday's lows first, and then again below 63, 63-ish next. You got the 5-minute chart, and it doesn't show much. And you've got the S&P, doji, sideways, bearish engulfing on Friday. Same commentary. What about the spider 5-minute? Yeah, of course, it shows you the same thing like the E-mini. And the NASDAQ QQQ had a slightly higher close. No higher highs. No breakouts in either direction. Not overbought. The Qs need to close below 560. Let's call it 559 to be a little safer. That should start something much more significant on the downside. Well, that's it. That's all I can say. Then we have other support areas to talk about once we get some sort of downside breakout. QQQ. And by the way, in the meantime, it is possible that the market could pop up dramatically for a day or two and get overbought and then start the big move down for September. Remember, we've been lulled to sleep a little bit lately with mild ranges on the average. There have been a few wild ones for the last month or so. So all of a sudden, something could happen before you are aware of it. That's what happens often. Markets go into sideways trading ranges, pennants and channels, wedges, things like that, even head and shoulder patterns that aren't too volatile. And all of a sudden, and they're not trending much. And all of a sudden, something happens. So be on your toes. NASDAQ futures, same as the Qs. Not much to say. No new highs, no breakouts. It's a doji, slightly higher close. We've got the NASDAQ futures contract 5-minute chart. That's what I'm going to say. Same thing. The YM and the Russell are a little bit different. The YM is not that close to previous historical highs, but it is and has touched a major resistance area, let's say 3 times in the last couple of weeks and stopped. And today, a little bit higher, doji, boring, inside day. I still think we are going to see it start to move below last week's lows, And that could be the beginning of something significant on the downside. And a slightly firm close, not anything particularly interesting to me. The Russell, also a doji, in a major resistance area, not expecting to see anything more than maybe, and I'm very doubtful of it, a sharp little day or two up, and then kaboom. But I don't have that either. And the 5-minute chart for the Russell. What about the bonds? They are now overbought and way up, just getting into a level of resistance. It's been on the charts for quite a long time. Now, the higher the bonds go, lower rates go in a general sense. But overbought conditions in a resistance area is one of my favorite areas for looking for sell signals. Don't have it, but I would not be recommending any new long positions after a move up like bonds have just had in the last 4 days and in a resistance area. 10-year notes, basically the same thing. I'm going to make a minor adjustment on that. Not quite in a resistance area, but overbought now for 2 days in a row. Be careful here. Interest rate futures could fall on their face very easily, and that wouldn't be particularly constructive for the overall market, which I'm surprised hasn't gone up a lot more. Well, interest rate futures have popped up quite a bit, indicating lower rates. I think the stock indexes don't believe that, interest rate stuff. So, crude oil, bouncing off support, probably going to have a very mild bounce. You are between a rock and a hard spot until we break below the support area or above the resistance at 69.60-ish. I've got to expect a ping-pong ball back and forth. It won't last forever. Natural gas, still climbing a little. The head and shoulder top is still in effect. In fact, it's got tons of elbow room above. But I don't expect this to last much longer because it normally doesn't. The last couple of weeks have been up slowly, nicely, nothing super strong, typical bounce, just taking a little longer than I might have expected. And then soon, I think we're going to get a sell signal. We almost got overbought today, so we're probably very close to a turn down. And we have heating oil. Rocking a hard spot. Got to wait for closes below 2.18 and might start something friendly above 239, but really you're going to have to close above 247, 248 in order to get me excited about something bullish longer term. Gold, silver, platinum. Like I've said before, just because you're overbought doesn't mean it's going to top out immediately. Gold is overbought and it keeps on coming up some more. I keep telling you, even though you would have missed some sort of bullish move here, all of a sudden, gold and any other market that's in this kind of condition will open lower and drop like a rock before you know it. So don't chase markets. Almost always a very bad piece of advice. Don't run after markets. I'm expecting a downside correction. We have an outside up day. Could be one of my bass-backwards reversals. They look very bullish, but in overbought conditions with an outside up day, it turns out sometimes, maybe not quite 50%, but very often, to be a bearish signal. Watch out. Platinum, I don't know. I'm just going to not say anything about platinum for the moment. Copper, this doesn't seem to have the strength. And I do expect another downside washout, downside breakout relatively soon. There is a chance that this is base building, but that would mean a close above 4.67 in order to get excited about a little bit more rally. Soybeans, remember I'm talking about a long-term bottom and grains developing. We have a nice up day, no new lows. This could be the start of something. We have a support area, but it wasn't oversold. Looking for higher levels. Now in soybeans, soybean oil, is still hovering right around that neckline on a complex head and shoulder bottom. The minimum upside objective is 62.40-ish, and you can't close significantly below today's low, or you're going to damage the neckline and break the formation, and I'll have to turn, frankly, bearish. But this is a very important level that we're hovering around from the lows of Thursday and Friday and today, and a test of the same levels a couple of weeks ago that caused a sharp rally. Too bad that we didn't have the follow-through. Soybean meal, nice rally again today. Maybe returning back up. Long-term bottom, I think, could be forming, but I've got to have a close above 298. Significantly, I would hope, well into the resistance area in order to get excited about the longer-term up move. For now, smaller ones, but I'm friendly for the moment. Corn, higher close. Nice. Almost a new high for a few weeks. Excuse me. So I think it's about to have a very minor upside breakout and a continuation of the move up. And we did get a buy signal on almost the exact low day. That's good. Wheat, a bullish engulfing. Not oversold, so it didn't turn green. But as you know, I love bullish engulfings, especially if they're in a support area. Now, I didn't put in a support area here, but this is very close to the lows we made on August 20th. And even though it was broken slightly, it didn't close below the August 20th lows on Thursday of last week, Friday of last week, and today we're starting to move up some. We could easily call this a little double bottom, but you have to close above the highest high between the two lows in order to get a breakout of the pattern, and that would be above 535. Next, we have a slightly higher close in Shell. This is oversold on Friday. Not quite today, very close. I think we're going to see a downside breakout here. This resistance area over a longer term has really stopped the progress on the upside pretty good. So looking for a test of 70.80 and probably a break of that and then lower levels. There are gaps to close at lower levels. And we're looking at AAP, AAPL Apple, overbought, gapped up, and I'll pull a little marker for the gap right here. Good. Major support, you got to come down to at least 232.50. And there's a little gap closed lower than that. And the best support is down at 198 to 195. Next, we're looking at resistance stopping the rally today and almost a bearish engulfing. I don't think today's low, which was 44.84, was lower. 44.68. No, wait a minute. Nope. Then Friday's low. So no outside down day or bearish engulfing, same thing. But a lower close after a higher high, bumping against resistance. It's got a little gap to close, and it closed a little time. Well, it didn't close, it did it. There's no outside day. So here's your little gap marker. I'm looking for the trend line to be tested, broken, and for some lower lows. That's Tesla. And NVIDIA. Lower lows on Friday, lower closes on Friday. A little bit bounced today. Still oversold at today's lows. There is a small gap to close up at 173.67-ish. And actually that is a little more accurately 173.15. That closes the gap if you touch that price. So I should lower this little tiny bit. About like that's better, yes. Not very far away. Could easily go up, close the gap, turn right around, and come down even in the same day sometimes. Okay, we're back to MES. Watch out. September is usually a substantial down month. Have a great day and profitable trading to you.